So I originally did a video talking about the events of the world, and I deleted the video because I didn't like the video. It didn't come out that good. I'm gonna be redoing that video soon, to send a message to people, and send the positive message. But I want to talk about the the announcement that was made Monday from World Wrestling Entertainment that they're going to have WrestleMania 36 at the Performance Center in Orlando. It will not be at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay. I did have my tickets for this WrestleMania. I'm probably going to get a refund. I will get a refund. Instead, WrestleMania for the first time ever will be in front of the smallest crowd in the history of the company, where there will be no fans. It's just going to be authorized personnel. Otherwise, basically, the way that's being perceived is family and friends. That's going to be WrestleMania this year, and it's so weird. So, SmackDown last week and Raw last night were both from the Performance Center. Now, with SmackDown, Triple H was on commentary. He made it kind of a fun show. I had a fun time watching it. But Raw was really hard to get through. 3 hours, seeing Steve Austin in there. Again, I love Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin's a legend. But it was so disheartening to see him in there with no crowd, because the crowd would have been hot for this guy. Real legend. And wrestling. So I've been to independent wrestling shows where there's been like 30 people. I've literally been to shows with that small amount of people. Virtually nobody. I've been to shows with 100 people, 1,000 people, and I've been to big WrestleManias too with, tens of thousands of people. WrestleMania this year is going to be so awkward, because you have to understand that watching pro wrestling, and not just pro wrestling, it's any sport, NBA, NCAA, basketball, football, whatever, with no audience is really, really weird. And it takes away from the excitement. When you're watching a football game and the crowd cheers for a big play or an interception or something like that, which is a big play, it adds to it. It adds to the atmosphere. If you're watching boxing, if you're watching, MMA, whatever you're watching, the crowd needs to be there, especially for pro wrestling, especially for sports entertainment, as they call it. I don't like that phrase. Because, I'm not saying that the Tampa crowd would have been super hot. They probably would have been, because they have a lot of foreigners coming in and, people flying into Tampa for that show. But it's one of those things where, they had a pretty good little thing going here with Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar, and with Edge and Randy Orton. And it's so weird that when you watch these shows, it's almost like they pretend like there's actually people in the audience, but there's nobody there. Like when you watch Raw, you can tell that this show was written before, or at least the majority of it, before the show was actually moved to the Performance Center, right? Edge comes out, cuts this promo on Randy Orton, challenges him to a last man standing match, which I think would have been just incredibly brutal. And I feel like a lot of these WrestleMania matches are probably going to have different finishes now. Because I feel like you don't want to really give away the big match in front of no people. You want to do it in front of a big crowd. Even if it's like a regular arena, 20,000 people or whatever. And the Randy Orton Edge stuff has been so good. Lesnar and Drew McIntyre. This is supposed to be Drew McIntyre's big sort of crowning moment. Defeating Lesnar at WrestleMania. Or at least we assume that would have been what happens. And instead, it's going to happen in front of maybe 100 people, friends and family. I'm just surprised they haven't I was actually surprised they didn't postpone the show. I would have tried to postpone it for at least a couple weeks. I understand why they couldn't. Maybe the building, Tampa wouldn't have allowed, the city of Tampa. This virus has changed the world, albeit possibly only temporarily. It has changed the entire planet. And it's just a shame. It's a shame. There are obviously bigger issues in the world than wrestling. Way bigger. Way, way bigger than this. But it's just a damn shame that they're going to have this show in front of no crowd. And Drew McIntyre beating Brock Lesnar should have been a much bigger reaction. I'm shocked they didn't just like, allow some fans in. Like, you know, have some fans get tested or something. Let them in, you know. But I guess it really is that serious. They don't want to take any risks. And it's just a damn shame, dude. You know, WrestleMania, since WrestleMania 23, has been in a stadium every single year. Obviously, even before Mania 23, you had WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 6, WrestleMania 8, WrestleMania 17, 18, 19, in these big, giant stadiums. And it always gave it that sort of atmosphere of being a bigger, larger-than-life show. The biggest, the grandest stage of them all, the biggest show of the year, is going to be at the Performance Center in front of 100 people. It's a mind fuck. It really is. And it's a damn shame that guys have worked so hard to get to this spot. Edge worked his way back. Drew McIntyre. Other people too. You know, Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. And it's one of those things where that show's going to be so strange to watch. And it's nobody's fault. It's just the virus. It's just the problems in the world right now. How weird is it going to be to watch a WrestleMania in front of 100 people? Maybe less than that. I'm being generous. But I'm assuming that the entire WWE staff will be there. I'm assuming that the friends and family will be there. You know, maybe some relatives. But it'll be kept very small. It's just mind-blowing to me that it's come to this. I was hoping for postponement. I would even be okay if they had it in Saudi Arabia like the rumor was. But this thing is so serious, man. And it's a shame. And I wanted to talk about it just on this channel here. I'm going to be doing another video about this in the future. Not about WrestleMania, but about the ongoing crisis in the world. I'm going to re-record what I recorded later this week when I give it more thought and kind of see where things go. Because things change every day with this. But the one point I did want to make to everybody is it's only, this is only temporary and we will pull through. But man, it just sucks to see all our favorite sports, not just wrestling, NBA. I think MLB got postponed. XFL got all messed up. Thankfully, there's no football right now. NFL, I mean. XFL doesn't count. When I mean football, I mean NFL. No offense to XFL. I mean, it is football, but, NFL is the big league. And then movies are being postponed. It's just a very weird time. But WrestleMania 36 in front of 100 people, we'll see what they do with it. It's just, I don't know. I'm not looking forward to the show. The show is cursed, and as somebody who has tickets for this show, it's a damn shame. And it's very much a travesty. That's all I have to say about it. We'll talk soon.